To factorise means to put into two brackets. In the case of a quadratic equation, at least, a quadratic expression, this isn't an equation, it doesn't have an equal sign. So if I was to write something simple, let's say 2x plus 10, and I wanted to factorise this, all I'm doing is trying to find what goes into both terms, which in this case is 2, and that would leave me with x plus 5. So that's a simple factorisation with a simple linear algebraic expression. Well, what about if it's a quadratic? In this case, what you get are two pairs of brackets. You get one times another. I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to put x plus 1 here and x plus 2 here. If I were to expand this out, what would I get? Well, if I were to employ the FOIL method, which is the first term multiplied by the first term, which is the first term multiplied by the first term is x squared. So that's the first. The O stands for outer, so it's the outer term here times the outer term here, which is plus 2x. That's outer. The I stands for inner, which is the plus 1 times the x. And then finally it's the last two terms, which is the 1 and the 2 multiplied together to give me 2. I could combine them together to make, combine these two terms together, to make 3x plus 2. And then what the question's asking me to do is to go backwards. How would I go from this stage to this stage? That's what the question's asking me to do. And there is a nice way, a nice method to do this. If we worked out that in our two brackets, the first two terms have to multiply together to get that. Well, the only two terms that work are x and x. And the last two terms have to multiply together to make that. And the two numbers that multiply to make 20, there are quite a few of them. There'll be 1 times 20, there'll be 2 times 10, there'll be 3, it doesn't work, 4 times 5, and these are 1 apart, so there's no more. But remember, we could do this again with the negatives as well. So minus 1 times minus 20 is 20, minus 2 times minus 10 is also 20, minus 4 times minus 5 is also 20. So there are 6 pairs that we could choose from. The pair that we choose has to add together to make this term. So we would have to add these together and work out what they are. The first one adds together to make 21, the second one adds together to make 12, the third one adds together to make 9, and that is the one that we use. Because it adds together to make 9, we would choose the 4 and the 5. So that's going to be a plus 4, and that's going to be a plus 5. And we could check it out by expanding this out. So we would get here x squared plus 5x plus 4x, which is 9x, plus 20. So that's factorised now. Let's have a look at the second example and see if we can use the same method. So this minus 10 here, two factors of minus 10 that add up to make minus 3. So we would have minus 1 and 10. That doesn't work. Minus 2 and 5 does work. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't, because that adds together to make 3. But we need minus 3. So we'd carry on. And in fact, if we notice the other way around, we can just make that positive and that negative. So they multiply to make minus 10 and add together to make minus 3. So factorised would simply be x plus 2 and x minus 5. Easy. Now this is all straightforward because all these examples have just got x squared in them, but we'll have a look when it's not just a single x squared in front. The third example, two factors of 6 that add up to minus 5. It's going to be minus 2 and minus 3, and then we can say our brackets are going to be x minus 2, x minus 3. It's very easy.